Okay, dogs, come on, come on. Very good dogs. Welcome back to Bluegrass on this beautiful April afternoon. Today we are talking about like picking a dog trainer, okay? What happened was we were thinking about some video ideas, and we went through the emails and we kind of made a list of common questions that we get, okay? And right up at the top is, hey Stoney, you know, should I bring my dog to you? Like, you know, or if I'm not gonna bring my dog to you, what kind of professional dog trainer should I get? So we're gonna walk up to the Small Challenges course, and I'm gonna do some regular basic obedience training, and we're gonna kind of answer those questions, okay? Now, I want you to notice, come on dogs, come on, come on. Oh my gosh, very good dogs. That I've got some dogs out here, and all of the dogs' tongues are hanging out a little bit. We call that their fatigue meters, right? And so whenever we get a new crop of dogs in, like every day, what we do is we try to make sure that we like stick to the same operating principles. And our basic operating principles is that most dogs would do well if managed properly, okay? Most of the time when people contact me, we have kind of square peg, round hole problems, you know, where like somebody's gotten a dog and they don't really understand the breed specific traits and tendencies. And so how they manage the dogs, especially with their exercise, okay? You know, they don't do a good job of helping the dog be successful with just proper energy regulation. Our operating principle at my kennel, right, okay, is that there is an inverse relationship between exercise and misbehavior or anxiety, okay? The more exercise you give a dog, then the less misbehavior you're going to get, and the easier they're going to be to integrate into your lifestyle, okay? So the very first thing we do before every training session, okay, is we come out and we run with the dogs and exercise the dogs, and we try to develop the idea that we're going to have a cooperative relationship, okay? Now, as the dogs mature into the system, what we start to do is change that around a little bit, okay? And we take them when they're really excited, and we say, hey, listen, I know you're really excited, and I know you have a lot of energy, but to gain access to the fun thing, the exercise, the running around, the exploring, the playing with the other dogs, you have to kind of go over some formal school work. And around here we have very simple formal school work. You know, we ask, you know, like our standards for what makes a good dog is very simple. We want a dog to come when you call it, we want it to be still when you tell it, we want it to have good manners from the neighbor's perspective, because oftentimes we're not very tough on our own dogs. We want them to start social situations off by being calm, attentive, and polite, and we want them to refrain from behavior that's dangerous, destructive, or rude. If you have a dog that has those 9 qualities, then, I mean, you're in really good shape, and you can take the dog anywhere into the world and it'll be welcomed. And that's where, from my perspective, the real utility of dog training lies for most people. Is I look at obedience as removing the impediments that allow people to fully integrate the dogs into their lives, because living life, okay, is what really teaches the dogs how to behave. Around here, we run a big puppy Montessori. We just need enough obedience on the dogs to get them to where they can go out and they can learn how to live and they can develop situational awareness. Okay, I'm really big into letting dogs learn how to choose behaviors based on the context of a situation. So the very first question you kind of ask when you're thinking about like hiring a dog trainer is, does that dog trainer's program match my expectations? It's really not a matter of being the best or not the best. I mean, you know, in dog training you have kind of a baseline metric that I just refer to as competence, right? There's a lot of competing methodologies in dog training, and a dog trainer that's competent in demonstrating their methodology in such a way that it'll work for your situation, okay, that's good enough. Okay, it doesn't have to be the most super talented dog trainer in the world, because like you're not the most super talented dog trainer in the world. Okay, so what you're really looking for is a dog trainer that offers a service that matches up with your short and long-term expectations. So if you send me an email and you're like, hey Stoney, can I send my dog to your program? I send you back a questionnaire, and like if you answer that questionnaire in such a way that like lets me know that your lifestyle is like not conducive to my training style, well then I don't sell you the training, because it's not a good fit for you. And I think I do what I do very well. I'm a very competent dog trainer. I got 350 videos. You can go watch me running this system for years. Okay, but it's not a system for everyone. So we're going to walk up to the Small Challenges course. We're going to do some formal schoolwork with these dogs now that they kind of, you know, got a little bit of their initial energy out, and we're going to talk kind of about the different layers of questions that you might ask yourself, and you might ask someone that you're looking to hire to help you with your dog. Come on dogs, let's go. Very nice dogs. Oh my gosh, you're very good dogs. Very good dogs. All right, so we're gonna start in on my formal school work. Listen, I have a very easygoing conversational style, you know. I don't think the dog needs much in the ways of cues to get through life, you know. So we teach a very basic vocabulary. Come, let's go, hup, easy, wait, and stay. Very simple, right? Okay, so every day what I'm doing is I'm thinking about helping these dogs establish skills that are gonna make it easy for their owners to go out in the world with them. You know, and so like the very first question you have to ask yourself is, do you even need to hire a professional dog trainer? Well, it depends on you, you know. I mean, I'm not doing anything you can't do, okay? No dog trainer is doing something you can't do, because if they were, it wouldn't do any good to hire them, because you would end up with a dog that minds at their house but not at your house. So if you go to a super talented dog trainer that's not a good teacher, well, you end up with a dog that when they're handling the dog looks great, and then when you're handling the dog doesn't look very good. You know, I've got a champion giant schnauzer in the kennel, you know what I'm saying? And so like the people that do that kind of work, I mean, they make dogs look super good. If I tried to handle that dog in a conformation show ring, he would probably get kicked out, because I have no idea how to show the dog off to his best advantage, you know? I mean, I'd be like, yeah, look at him, looks pretty good to me, you know? Okay, so there's different skill sets, there's different talent levels, and some people and some dog combinations, there's just a natural affinity there. And so I would say that like the best dogs in the world, what that really is you have just an owner and dog that matched up perfectly. No, you don't need to hire somebody like me. You know what I mean? Like there's millions of dogs that are awesome in the world, and there's a handful of really awesome teachers as it relates to dog training. Okay, so that tells you, number one, I'm not that important. Okay, so you say, well, Stonnie, like if you're not that important, then like what are you selling? Well, what I'm selling is that I'm very important to some people, right? Because not everybody has my life experience, not everybody has my facility, not everybody has my, you know, access to other people to help train dogs. And so when you hire someone like me, then what you're doing is you're buying time, okay? I'm not doing anything you can't do or can't learn how to do, but I might be selling something that you don't have the time to learn how to do, right? Or just because of where you live, you just don't have access to very many well-socialized dogs. You don't have, you know, people are transitory now in terms of their jobs, so they don't have like really, really well-established relationships where they can get people to come and help them work on their dog's manners, work on their dog's, you know, safety training in relation to wheelchairs and walkers and things like that, okay? And that's what I have here. You know, every day I have people come here that have dogs that have either been here for training or the dogs are in training. I've got my family here. I've got a nice girl that works for me. So these dogs get handled by lots of people every day, and they get to interact with lots of people every day and dogs. I've got a farm. They get on boats. They get on paddle boards. I mean, the amount of daily exposure that these dogs get during the formative time of their life is really, really... it's really concentrated here, you know? And so like if you've just got a regular job, and let's say that you're thinking about important time in a dog's life being between 16 and 24 weeks as far as it relates to boarding and training, like, you know, if you have a regular job and you're working 5 days a week, it can be very tough for you to go out and get these kind of interactions. You know, you might have to drive a long way. Really, they might not even be available to you, because you might go to the dog park and instead of having positive interactions, you have horrible interactions. Right? Okay? So that's one of the things to think about. Like, you know, I like to think of dog trainers as nice to have, but not always need to have, you know? And I also like to think in terms of money, right? So, like, when I was younger, I always did all my own stuff. I painted my own house. I worked on my own cars, which I still do that a lot. I mowed my own yard. You know, there's just lots of things that I did myself because I didn't have any money. And all that stuff got done. It didn't get done as efficiently as a professional would get it done, but I still got it done, you know? I mean, an analogy that I use a lot about professional dog training, like say this dog, it lives in Alexandria, Virginia. It's gonna go home. Like, you know, the fella that owned this dog could have done a little better job raising it and not ever brought it here, right? Okay, but like just got a little bit behind. He's like, hey, I wanna catch up, and I wanna catch up in a, you know, relatively quick amount of time, so that, you know, like you have to default to whoever can do the most TTV, total training volume. So this dog gets tons and tons of interactions every day. This dog's also from Virginia, same thing. He just started a little younger, okay? Now, So I'm going to get this dog like in good shape. He's going to be able to go home and go immediately to exploring. He's going to be reliable in terms of recalls, and he's going to be trustworthy in terms of taking him into semi-urban or urban environments where there's a lot of distraction. Okay, that's great. Ultimately though, guy has to keep up with it, right? So, perfect analogy for dog training. You can paint your own house. And for any of you guys who have ever painted your own house, you know that you can do it. But you're going to make a mess, and it's going to take you a lot longer than you thought it was going to take, right? Or you can hire a professional to come paint your house, and it is amazing how fast they get your house painted. I mean, you leave for work, and you come home, and your whole house is painted, and it's perfect. You know what I'm saying? It's perfect. It costs a lot, but it's perfect. Immediately done, and it's perfect. Here's the thing though. Whether you paint your own house and it takes you 3 weeks, or you hire somebody to paint your house and it takes them 1 day, okay? Ultimately, it all boils down to keeping the walls clean, okay? If you don't keep your walls clean, it doesn't matter whether you painted your house or someone else painted your house, because it's gonna look grimy and awful, right? Come on. Now, so that's the same thing with these dogs. So, do you need to hire a professional trainer? No, not if you have time to do things right, okay? Do you need to like put in the work whether you hire a professional trainer or you don't hire a professional trainer? Well, of course, okay? So that's the first thing. How much time do you have? It's really a kind of a time and access calculation. Now the second thing, if you are going to hire a professional trainer, what role is that professional going to what role is he going to play in your training, right? Okay, so you can do things like I offer, and a lot of guys offer, an online coaching course. Okay, so with my online coaching course, like it's very interactive. Okay, so people sign up with the dog, they get access to a video library, and then they keep a training journal, and then I monitor and provide feedback in that journal for a whole year. And the reason I do it for a whole year is because like the dog has developmental stages to go through, and even though the principles that I'm teaching you are very solid and specific principles, like the application of those principles through different life situations needs some adjustment, right? So my online program is very intensive, and again, you have to fill out a questionnaire to take it, because I only sell it to people that can keep up with it, and my style of training takes a lot of work and a lot of patience and a lot of outside time, okay? Now, there are some programs out there that are a lot cheaper than mine, and all they do is they provide, watch out, they provide, come on nerds, they provide video instruction, and you just you maybe get an app or something, access to some videos, and you just click through those and you sink or swim on your own. So again, what are you paying for? You know, what do you need? Do you need the instruction, right? Do you like my system? Do you need my kind of system? But can you watch me do it and then emulate that without any help? I don't think you can, so I don't sell it that way. I only sell it in the way that I think is going to work consistently, okay? Now, so you can buy online training. You can buy online training with personal coaching. Another thing you can do is you can just join a dog training club. Dog training clubs a lot of times are pretty reasonably priced, okay? The problem with going to a dog training club is kind of like getting on a dog training forum on the internet, where you have a lot of people like telling you what's right, and really kind of what they like to do more is tell you what you're doing wrong. And unfortunately, the loudest ones are normally the least talented and the ones that are the least effective teachers. Okay, so if you ever get on a forum and like one person is doing lots of posting, just put him on block, okay, or her. A lot of times it's a her. Like, just put them on block, okay, because like sometimes people talk too much. Not a lot of, I mean, listen, we've been training dogs since caveman days. It's not a lot to it, right? You just got to get up, you got to pick a methodology, you got to implement that methodology consistently with patience and persistence, and you're going to get to where you go, okay? So, join a dog training club. Unfortunately, there are not a lot of dog training clubs. Then when you find a dog training club, there's kind of dog training club bullies, and there's forum bullies, and if you don't have a thick skin, then like trying to learn to train dogs at a dog training club or off of a forum can be pretty disappointing, you know, because you get your feelings hurt pretty easy, okay? You can go to a group class, okay? Advantage of a group class is that, you know, with the group class, okay guys, with the group class, it's cheaper, right? Okay, because you and 10 or 15 other people are all chipping in to pay the trainer for their time, okay? What's the problem with that? Well, if you have a dog that needs extra attention or you need extra attention, then the trainer just doesn't have time because he's like show things that are applicable across the board to lots of people, lots of dogs, lots of family situations, lots of management styles, okay? So like if you have an easy dog because it fits into your lifestyle well, maybe you have some dog training experience or you're just a very kind of awesome DIY type person, you just go take your little dog training class, you supplement that with some information from the internet, and next thing you know, your dog's awesome, okay? So let's say that you need a little bit more help than like just a regular dog training class where you're one of 10 or one of 15 or 20, right? Okay. Maybe you hire someone to give you private lessons, okay? Sometimes those people even come to your house. And I used to do that when I was a kid and I couldn't afford a facility of my own. I would just drive to people's houses. I would take walks with them in their own neighborhoods. And it works pretty good, you know, it works pretty good. The problem that we run into, again, is like, not guaranteed access to lots of dogs in any given neighborhood, right? So like let's say you're trying to help a family get ready to go on vacation and you got a little business where you're driving around helping people train dogs, okay? Well, what happens is like you're getting a lot of work at their house and you're getting a lot of work, okay guys, come on. You're getting a lot of work in their neighborhood, okay George, getting a lot of work in their neighborhood, getting a lot of work at their house, right? But dogs don't generalize well. So they're practicing and they're doing their best. Then they load up the family station wagon and they drive to Hilton Head, and as soon as they get on the beach, dog runs away and won't come back, okay? Because the dog's never been in a high distraction environment that was unfamiliar to it, okay? So that actually happened to me, you know what I'm saying? I would get these dogs, they'd be trained perfectly over in Lexington, and then people would take big trips and the dogs wouldn't mind very well. I mean, it was just a big mess. Once I got my facility, all that stopped happening, right? You know, I mean, I'm lucky. I have a big facility. I have lots of dogs running around. I have a big farm, and I can go let the dogs run and explore and swim and hike and bike and four-wheeler ride and stuff. And I mean, it's really awesome. And these dogs aren't going to have a problem if you take them to Yosemite or if you take them to Yellowstone or you take them to Isle of Palms, wherever you're going. Like these dogs are going to do great because they've had so much freedom that they don't crave it. And so my facility allows me to really take a Montessori approach where I'm letting the dogs learn by doing. And I think that's awesome, okay? But it's only awesome because I have the facility. If I lived in California, I couldn't have a facility like mine. Dog training would cost, well, I don't even know how much it would cost. I mean, what would it cost to buy, you know, acres and acres, 100 acres of a dog adventure land in California? I mean, I don't know. But whatever it would cost, I do know that no normal person could pay it, right? You go up in the Northeast, the zoning restrictions are such that like there's very few places you can even put a dog training kennel. So I don't want to sound like I'm talking down to people that don't have a facility. I'm lucky. I live in a place where I was able to have a nice facility and I do the kind of dog training that I like to do. And I think it's awesome, right? Do I think it's better than like the work that I do? Is it better than back when I used to, you know, like ride around in my old minivan and go to people's houses and help them walk their dogs in their neighborhoods? Well, yes and no. I mean, it's better because we do a lot more fun stuff. But if you don't plan on taking your dog to a national park, if you don't vacation a lot, if you board your dog instead of taking your dog along with you when you vacation, then this is overkill for you, you know? If you don't have the time or inclination to implement the exercise-intensive things that I do, you just want your dog to mind in your neighborhood, well, look, having somebody come to your house is awesome. That's great. I mean, you know, like that's what I would say. If you contacted me, you fill out your little questionnaire, and you're like, Stonnie, all I need is this dog to quit jumping at the door and pulling on the leash when I take a walk and have my drink in the afternoon and talk to my neighbors. I'd say, well, that's awesome. Hire somebody in your town to come over to your house and help you. You know, so that's kind of what I think. Like, what, did I miss anything there, cameraman? Let me look here. I got some notes. Private lessons at a facility, board and train. Oh, okay, yeah. So the one thing that I missed, private lessons at a facility. Okay. So having somebody come to your home, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? And it really works well. Kind of works a little bit more limited way usually, right? Okay. Private lessons at a facility. Private lessons at a facility can be very good if you have access to a facility where they teach the kind of things that you want to know. Okay. Now the problem with that is a lot of times, the people that teach at facilities, right? They're like real dog-related people, and so their approach to everything is like real dog-centric, okay? And so I kind of break down the dog training world into dog-centric and non-dog-centric dog training, okay? And so if you go somewhere and everybody's got on their little collared shirt with, you know, Canines or Us or whatever, you know, like logo on there, and, you know, then all those people probably their whole day, every day, their hobby, what they talk about, what they do is dog stuff, right? Okay? And so you go to a facility full of people that are all very dog-centric. A lot of times they have an idea about how you should change your life to adapt to the dog. Okay, and how you should make formal obedience training very important. You know, you should make it a focus of what you do in your home environment. Okay, we're non-dog-centric dog trainers. Okay, I don't train dogs for people if they're making dogs a hobby. Okay, the people I'm friends with, if they want an animal that's a hobby, they have a racehorse. Okay. Hey, that's what's cool around here. Now, so like, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not gonna, you can't hire me to do that because that's not what I do, right? Okay, and that's the first thing is, does this trainer do what I'd like to do? Okay, so when you come here, I'm a dad, I'm a small business owner. I'm a guy that likes to go boating and hiking and shoot guns and do fun stuff, okay? That's what I am. And I train these dogs to be able to tag along and make appropriate decisions, right? So that I can integrate them into my lifestyle. But I'm kind of egocentric, you know, I like to do what I like to do. And since I like to do what I like to do, the dogs have to learn to adapt to what I'm doing. And it works great. So like if you come to my facility and you wanted to do some private lessons, then I'd say, all right, well, let's go do something fun and we'll let your dog tag along, and then we will give them appropriate feedback as to what was, you know, a good behavior choice and not so good a behavior choice. And we will track and monitor the dog's activity level so we know how to optimize our energy regulation strategy, okay? So much dog training could be different if people just took more walks, if they just let their dogs off the leash more, if they let their dogs have a little bit more free time. This little dog here is the perfect example. Its owner's from Indiana, nice guy, lady. They were down the other day and the dog came out and it was so excited to see them. I mean, it was just going crazy, jumping up and carrying on, you know. And when I walked out the door, it immediately took like this posture and this attitude. And they were like, well, Stonnie, what's the difference? Did you correct it? Did you fuss at it? And I'm like, no, as I get older, I don't fuss for youthful exuberance anymore, right? Like I see a little dog like this, or like you hear that Australian Shepherd over there barking. Like when I was younger, I was a little tough on that kind of stuff because I didn't understand how fast life gets away from you. I said, what I do with this dog every day is we do our formal schoolwork and then we go do the stuff he likes to do. And it didn't take him long to understand that just being compliant led to going and doing fun stuff, right? We start off something simple like a little clicker training, you know, then we go do a little hiking, a little retrieving, you know. And so when he sees me, he says, oh, Stonnie, he's the kind of guy that if you'll just be calm, attentive, and polite, he'll take you to do something fun, right? Okay, I have the luxury of waiting it out and exercising it out. If these dogs are being real bad, I just take off walking and I walk it out of them, you know, not in a hurry. I was in a hurry when I was a young person, and you might be a young person and you might be in a hurry. Or you might be in a situation where there's family strife or something, and you know, you need that discipline-based training, that one command, one behavior, but not here. You know, I'm not really into commands, you know. The only thing I'm tough on is behaviors that are dangerous, destructive, or rude. Everything else, I feel like we can exercise it out, or we can reward it out, or we can just structure our day so that the dogs are, you know, put in a situation where they can be successful. And this right here, this is the last dog I'll walk, because it's a perfect example, okay? This is a Keeshond, right? You know, not that that's probably the best way to say it, but it's as good as I can say it. Now, this little dog, let me see if I can get it up here. Come on, nerd. I want you to come over here and look at it, cameraman. Okay. That's what I'm dealing with. That's why I'm always talking about I like black labs, right? Okay, but so if I can ever get this little dog to come up here, hey, quit humping her. Come on, get up here for a second. Come on. Okay, watch out. You get out of the way. All right, here. All right, I give up. I'm just gonna put her up here. All right, come look at her face, cameraman. Okay, look at that. You see that face? Right? That's a mischievous face. I don't know if you've ever seen it, just a straight man. And what I mean by that is this dog's just into everything. You see how she's hopping over those things? Like that's her whole life. Have you ever known somebody that's like that? Like just every time they make a decision, they make 3 other decisions in 3 other directions? That's this dog, right? And these kind of dogs like this, if you have this dog and you try to put it in a super structured program, a one command, one behavior program, or a program where the dog is let out on a super strict schedule, okay? And the only way for the dog to maintain its access to being out is to you know, meet a set of performance metrics that's based around heel, sit, down, stay, okay? You're not doing anything with this dog that's gonna last, okay? Because when this dog goes home, lives in a big house, it's just gonna run around that big house like crazy, barking out all the windows, and then when it gets out, like all these little Spitz type dogs, it's gonna take off, right? And every time that it sees that it's in a situation where you can't discipline it or the people around it aren't willing to discipline it, then you know, you're not gonna have what you paid for. Okay, you can't take these little Spitz type dogs and just boss them around. You can't throw an electric collar on them and just make them mind. You can manage them with an electric collar. I mean, I could put an electric collar on this dog and I could manage her when we were out and off the leash, but I'm really not into long-term tool usage for management, right? Okay, so if I want to be successful and if I want to help the owners of this dog be successful, at some level, we have to convince this little dog that coming and being still and having good manners is what she wants to do, okay? Because she makes so many decisions so fast and she's got so much energy, right? That if I were to try to discipline her all the time, she would just figure out all the holes in my ability to discipline her. And then when she got home, I mean, she lives with 4 or maybe she lives with 5 other people, okay? Look at that guy. She lives with 5 other people. I can't turn 4 teenagers or 3 teenagers and 2 50-year-olds into disciplinarians overnight, okay? But what I can do with a cute dog like this, okay, why do you buy a cute dog like this? Because you want to love on it and you want to watch it do funny stuff and you want to, you know, get a little street cred when you walk down your neighborhood lane because you got a cooler dog than other people, right? Okay. What I can do is I can kind of turn this little dog into a ham, and I can make her realize that when she goes out in the world, that like there's some things that have to be done, but that if she does them, we're gonna have lots of fun adventures. And when we have lots of fun adventures, she's gonna get a ton of positive feedback from everybody in the environment. Go on. Okay. But you see how, like with every time that we go to do something, I'm having to body block her, use my body, move her, because she's gonna jump off and move, you know, get herself in trouble. If I jerk this leash, if I put a collar on her that I can jerk her, if I zap her with an electric collar, these little dogs like this, these inquisitive, naturally energetic, mischievous dogs, okay? This particular kind of dog, not that you can't use some discipline with them or you need to use some discipline with them, but there is such a fine line between this dog like trying lots of things and being super energetic and outgoing and you using too much correction and shutting them down, and they don't learn anything other than to avoid the trainer that's using, you know, the punishment, right? Okay. Those labs, the German Shepherds, the Malinois, like if we take and we think about dog training methodology, you have, like with some types of dogs, especially the retrieving breeds, you have the broadest possible range of things that'll work on them because they are bred to do a job, a complex job in conjunction with the handler, okay? You can be too hard on them, you can be too easy on them, you can train them a lot, not train them a lot, and most of the retrievers and a lot of the herding dogs, they're just gonna kind of adapt to their environment. These little Spitz types dogs, listen, you got a very, very narrow window of being able to use a methodology that's going to affect their behavior in the long term, okay? And so it's very important that you find someone who has experience with this type of dog, because if the person is not disciplined enough, if the trainer can't give you advice on how to have enough discipline to keep the dog from being dangerous, destructive, or rude, right? Then that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a lot of like safety issues, right? Okay. But on the other hand, if you get a trainer that thinks that you can solve the types of problems associated with owning a case hound with the old-fashioned discipline style or by zapping them a bunch, okay, all you're going to do is you're going to make this dog, when it gets the opportunity, and any of you guys who have these little dogs know what I'm talking about, to show you this little curled up tail, and that's all you'll see. If you fuss at these dogs too much, you know, all that happens is they start to avoid, come on, they start to avoid the person that's fussing at them, you know. It's a really, really, really fine line when you're trying to use discipline with these types of dogs. Now, one of the things, the last thing I'll tell you about is like, one of the things you're seeing is a lot of humping. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the things people fuss at their dogs about. You know, if I fussed at every dog and did a little humping around here, I'd never get any work done. But so I have a female that's in season right now, and it affects the whole kennel, right? I mean, it just like, it affects the whole kennel. And that's, again, the kind of things that you can get if you go to a facility that has a giant, wide, broad breadth of socialization opportunities. A lot of facilities don't allow intact males, or they don't allow intact females. Well, the problem with that is, again, you're losing out on exposure. You're losing out on socialization, okay? So the first time that your dog might have ever been around an intact female is on vacation. You really want that to happen, because they lose their minds when the first time they're around them, okay? And you can see even the little dogs, even the little boy dogs humping everything, you know, okay? So that's kind of my take on it. So I'll just recap real quick. Do you need a professional trainer? No, not necessarily. Lots of good dogs, only a few good professional trainers. How do you like go about selecting a professional trainer? Well, first off, look, you just got to find somebody that does what you like to do. Like, so you like to run around, hike, bike, do outdoor stuff, and you're big into freedom, right? Like, you come hang out with a guy like me, right? You want to do competitive obedience? You better go find somebody that does that, because I ain't doing it for you, you know? Should you have somebody come to your house? Yes, that's awesome, and it'll help you solve your local problems, but you might miss out on some big socialization unless you're willing to get in your car and drive and use what the trainer told you, and find other people that are like-minded. Should you do private lessons at a facility? It depends on whether or not you can find a facility where the trainers are the kind of people you hang out with on a regular basis, or plan to hang out with on a regular basis, okay? And that's a tough one. Should you take a group class? Listen, a group class is pretty good. I've taught a lot of group classes over the years, and if you get the right instructor and the right mix of dogs, it's a great bang for your buck, because all of you are just sharing, you know, what it costs to talk to the trainer for that hour or that 2 hours, right? A group class, man, I tell you what, the people that can manage a whole group of people, they're few and far between. But if you can find a really good group class, you know, like a trainer, I'd say I'd give that a hard look, okay? A board and train. Like, how are you going to pick your board and train? Well, listen, for me, like, if a board and train doesn't look like my spot, okay, I ain't sending my dog there, you know? But I do lots of fun outdoor stuff, right? I mean, I'm not a heel, sit, stand kind of guy. I'm a, hey, get in a truck kind of guy, get on the four-wheeler, you know, don't spill my beer kind of guy. That's who I am, right? Okay? So think about that. If you want your dog to sit, stand, down, or else I'm going to jerk you, or else I'm going to shock you, okay, that works, okay? You ain't getting it here, though. So I hope that answers your questions, and shoot me some emails, or put in the comments what you might want to see me address next week. See y'all later.